Allocation of the Coast Salish people, recognizing especially the Kilkungun people known today as the Esquimalt and Songhees Nation. And so we light candles as we come into worship, knowing that God is with us, Christ is among us, Christ's light is shining. It's also a light to show fellowship and reconciliation. And I think today, especially in the light of the news of the world, if I had 1,000,000 candles, I would light them. May we say together the words, "We are here, God is here, this space is holy ground." Let's find our first hymn. It's that beautiful song, beautiful Gaia. Gaia is Mother Earth, and every part of Earth is calling us home, calling us to be true to who we are, who God has created us to be.
Calling us home. Oh,
Tomorrow is a celebration of Thanksgiving, which makes this Thanksgiving Sunday. And that is the theme of today's worship. And the scriptures you're about to hear is all about the place where we are, where we have landed, and gratitude. So let's hear first the scripture from Deuteronomy.
So the reading is from Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 7 to 18. God will bring you to a bountiful land. So it's paramount that you keep the commandments of God, your God. Walk down the roads God shows you, and reverently respect God. For God is about to bring you into a good land, a land with brooks and rivers, springs and lakes, streams out of the hills and through the valleys. It's a land of wheat and barley, of vines and figs and pomegranates, of olives, oil, and honey. It's land where you'll never go hungry, always food on the table and a roof over your head. It's a land where you'll get iron out of rocks and mine copper from the hills. After a meal, satisfied, bless God, your God, for the good land God has given you. Make sure you don't forget God, your God, by not keeping the commandments, God's rules and regulations that I command you today. Make sure that when you eat and are satisfied, you build pleasant houses and settle in. See your herds and flocks flourish, and more money come in. Watch your standard of living going up and up. Make sure you don't become so full of yourself and your things that you forget God, your God, the God who delivered you from Egyptian slavery, the God who led you through that huge and fearsome wilderness, those desolate, arid badlands crawling with fiery snakes and scorpions, the God who gave you water gushing from hard rock, the God who gave you manna to eat in the wilderness, something your ancestors had never heard of, in order to give you a taste of the hard life, to test you so that you would be prepared to live well in the days ahead of you. If you start thinking to yourselves, I did all this, and all by myself, I'm rich, it's all mine, well, think again. Remember that God, your God, gave you the strength to produce all this wealth so as to confirm the covenant that he promised to your ancestors, as it is today.
Second reading is from Luke chapter 17, verses 11 to 19. It happened that as he made his way toward Jerusalem, Jesus crossed over the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 men, all lepers, met him. They kept their distance, but raised their voices, calling out, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. Taking a good look at them, he said, Go, show yourselves to the priests. They went, and while still on their way, became clean. One of them, when he realized that he was healed, turned around and came back, shouting his gratitude, glorifying God. He knelt at Jesus' feet, so grateful. He couldn't thank him enough. And he was a Samaritan, one of Hamas. Jesus said, Were not 10 healed? Where are the other 9? Can none be found to come back and give glory to God, except this outsider? Then he said to him, Get up, go on your way. Your faith has healed and saved you. This is part of our story.
And here it is again, a season, a holiday dedicated to one thing. Can you believe it? It's actually a holiday in this country and in other places that is dedicated to gratitude. It's normally a holiday that's dedicated to some political figure or some queen's birthday or something like that. But gratitude, it seems such a tiny thing, and yet here it is. A whole day given as a holiday, just to say thank you. That's how important people think gratitude is. To actually have a whole day once a year just to say thank you. And so families will gather around. Sure. And so families will gather around tables abundant, laden with food, good food that warms bodies and hearts. And friends will clink glasses and say grace with thanksgiving for a particular blessing. And some people may sit on their TV tray on their lap, and they'll pause a few seconds to close their eyes and recount a blessing or two. And they will be thankful. But what if we can't? What if life is just too hard to say thank you anymore? What if our minds have gone so calcified that we just can't see the good anymore? What if our bodies are racked with cancer? What if we don't have enough money to last until the end of the month and it's only the 3rd now? What if we were so abused as a child that we can't contemplate how anyone could feel so empty and lost and angry and broken and then still give thanks? How can we be thankful in these despairing situations of life? How can we be thankful when we turn on the news and see, a glib announcement of another 600 dead, another 20 people shot, another earthquake just swallowing another couple of thousand people? We get so used to it that I wonder, where is the beauty anymore? And where is the reason for gratitude anymore? Where is the possibility for gratitude? How can we be thankful? How can we summon gratitude from deep inside of us when we're feeling anything but? How could we possibly be expected to pour out our thank yous when we're struggling even to remember our name on a good day? And then we get to that beautiful story in the gospel of the people who had leprosy. 10 people. And they were cast out from their town, from their community, because of this terribly infectious disease. The only way they knew how to cope with it at that time was to kick the people out. Now imagine having an awful infectious disease and then to be kicked out of your family, kicked out of your home, kicked out of your community, out of your town, and live as a beggar in caves or, I don't know, on a leper colony somewhere close by here. Having to fend for yourself, having to cope with life. How could that life be anything that could summon gratitude? And as joy would have it, on a particular day, Jesus was passing by, and they had heard about Jesus, this healer, this miracle worker, this teacher. And they ran to him and begged for mercy, begged for healing. Isn't it heartbreaking that people who were sick must beg for healing? But they do because they have no choice. It's their only way. They beg for food and they plead for healing. And joy of all joys, it happens. And Jesus just has to speak to them. And they are cured of this awful disease. He tells them to go back home and show themselves to the priests, who were in those days the clever people, the people who could say who was in and who was out. And if they were deemed healthy and pure enough, they were allowed back in. No room for the diseased in the community of God then, clearly. But only the people who were seen by the priests and were told it's okay to come back. Their lives that they've lost were handed back to them on a plate, as it were. And I'm sure they were grateful to the core for that grace that was shown them for that day. I'm sure they were. For the healing that they've just been given home. And they were overjoyed and couldn't wait just to get back to their families and pick up where their lives left off. You know how sometimes when we are in trouble or when we are ill or when we're about to sit an important exam or an interview or some doctor's appointment that we've been dreading, and we're sitting there in the waiting room or before this event, whatever it is, and we're all, oh, please, 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 God, let this be okay, please, God. We've never prayed so hard in our lives, right? Ever been there? Oh, I have. I do remember that very, very well. We're in a terrible situation and I feel so sick. I can't eat, I can't do anything. I'm obsessing with worry and anxiety over this thing that's about to happen. And I'm praying like crazy for it just to be over. Just to be over. Just to be on the other side. Whatever the consequences, I just want it to be over. And we might even say, oh God, I'll do anything you want. Just get this over. Get this over with. Let it be okay. Let me be okay. I'll change my life. I'll sort out that thing. I'll say sorry to my sister. I'll treat my husband better. I'll be more generous to my co-workers. I'll look after my body better. I'll change. Please just get me through this. I'm sure many of us and many, many, many people have said prayers like that and meant it. Oh my goodness, we meant it so much at the time. I promise I'll change. Phew. Would that those promises to come true, our world would be in better shape. And then, grace upon grace, God does. God hears the prayer. God comes through. And we pull through, and it's okay, and we get through, and we feel elated for a few minutes or a few days. And yes, we are grateful, we are thankful, we are over the moon happy about the results. We are ecstatic even, and we go back home or back to life or back to our situation, whatever it is. And guess what? It doesn't seem to last long enough. That gratitude doesn't seem to kind of carry through. And we simply go back. And some changes may be made, but oh my goodness, change is so hard and we don't like it anyway. And yeah, we just give it up. We are sometimes, of course, one of the 9 who went home happy, full of gratitude, but essentially unchanged. But one of the 1 who ran back to Jesus to thank him, perhaps it was he that truly got it. He accepted the fullness of everything that Jesus was giving to him. You see, Jesus wasn't just getting him through a bad patch, or any of them. He wasn't just getting them through a bad patch, a particular illness, a particular disaster, a particular crisis. Because that's not how God works. Because God's generosity is all. It is complete. It is bigger than we could imagine. And yet, in our requests, Don't you find sometimes we ask so small? We ask so small. I wonder if it's because we are afraid that God will just never hear our prayers. Why should I deserve it? Why should it be fantastic? Why should it go well for me? And so we ask for just this one thing, just this tiny speck, just this crumb, when in reality, the banquet is ours. The banquet is there for all humanity, for all creation, and yet we are happy with a crumb. This one person truly got it. He accepted the fullness of what Christ had given him, the full life change, the from then on things were completely different moment is what he got. Yes, his leprosy was eradicated, and yes, he was healed, but something so much bigger happened, and he realized it. He touched the heart of God, and God wept for that one person. And when he saw that, he could be connected with the fullness of God's abundant love. And he participated, not just as a recipient, but as a participant in the graceful act of being healed. And he found his soul. Why is it so hard to say thank you to someone? When we were younger, and certainly when I was a kid, my mother would dangle the prize, whatever it was. What do you say? Thank you. The child would chime in, knowing that, oh, I've just got to say the right magic password and I'll get the goodie, right? And we haven't grown out of it. We feign thanks sometimes, gratitude sometimes, a smile even sometimes, because we know it's going to get us the thing we want. 10 people were healed, and they were overjoyed, and yet only one came back to express the gratitude. Expressing gratitude to God awakens the heart, and it opens our eyes to the reality of what is actually happening. Gratitude reminds us that we are on the receiving end of something. It is our hands that are open, receiving, and waiting. It is we who have needed. And when it has been provided, we have received it and we can be grateful for it. Gratitude can teach us humility, that we are not in total control of our lives or life in general, and there are other principles at work. In the scriptures in Deuteronomy, God is reminding the people, I'm giving you this wonderful space. I'm giving you all these provisions. I'm giving you so much abundance. Don't you dare wake up one day and say, oh, look what I've achieved. Look what I've done. Look at my fine possessions, my home, my life. Gratitude tells us that there is abundance of life out there and generosity. Look at a single flower, the dandelion, my favorite. Everybody else curses it, but I tell you what, those little golden flowers, they are symbols of God's abundance. I think God was laughing when dandelions were created. So many seeds in one wee flower, and you just have to blow one. Oh, we blow it so romantically into somebody else's yard, right? Dandelions teach us about God's abundant principles. Gratitude helps us to remember to come with open hands. It reminds us to be on the lookout for good things and gifts, even when we feel poor. even when we feel impoverished, even when we feel we are lacking, even when we feel we are empty. It reminds us that God is good and we don't have to come begging for crumbs. We have life and we have comforts around us. Gratitude reminds us to be generous in turn. And it can give us joy when we begin to notice the life around us. It can give us real joy when we realize we are truly blessed and we are richer than we think. That's been one of the mottos in my life. You're richer than you think. You're stronger than you could ever dream. That we have more gifts available to us than we could ever have imagined, more resources, that we are more talented and resourceful than we could ever have guessed. And how often are we sitting in the corner watching other people create beauty and saying, "What about me? Where are my gifts? I simply can't." And people think that in order to be creative, you've got to be able to draw, right? I can't draw, therefore I'm not creative. I can't draw, and I'm seriously one of the most creative people I know. We have so much beauty in us. Even in hands that are riddled with arthritis. I have seen them struggle to play the piano. But they do. People who find it hard to even get out of bed in the morning can still say, "I feel the sun on my face and I'm grateful." Gratitude reminds other people to feel grateful because our joy will rub off. It will rub off. Don't you know somebody that just radiates sunshine? I do. And they can't help but being infectious with the joy they seem to emit and radiate. We do feel it. What we thought was awful can be transformed. Gratitude reminds us what is important in life. It teaches us simplicity, that even with just a little, we can be grateful. It tells us that every day is a new beginning, that every moment is a new opportunity, that we are stewards of a tiny piece of property, a small garden, a family, our pets, whatever it is. And how will we express our gratitude today and tomorrow and all our tomorrows? Just by saying, "Thank you," because we have to? Oh, may we never do that. How will we express our deep appreciation for the abundance of gifts in our lives? Could it be a card, a letter, a visit, a call? Could it be a song we write to God, even if we never sing it and nobody hears it, but it could be something that we could offer? For years, I've had a small practice. Every night before I go to sleep, I think about 3 things. When I'm feeling not so tired, I think of 5 things. But let's try 3 things. Every night before you go to sleep, what today am I grateful for? And sometimes it's one of those days. And the only thing I can say, I'm grateful that this day is over. I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for the sleep I'm about to have. Right? Yeah, it gets like that sometimes. But the more I start thinking about the things that day that I'm truly grateful for, not just count your blessings, name them one by one, Pollyanna. No. What are we truly grateful for? What can we find? And I tell you, those things will grow into 4, 5, and up to 10. They will. They will. How will we do it today and tomorrow? How will our gratitude change us and change life around us? May we give thanks for this glorious season of harvest and thanksgiving, of changing leaves and cooling weather. May we give thanks for the rain about to come. May we give thanks for the beauty of our world despite everything that human beings have done to destroy it. And may this beautiful season move us on into more and more gratitude. And that's what this communion is about. This is about thanksgiving. This is about remembering.
Touch the earth lightly, use the earth gently, nourish the life of the world in our care. Gift of great wonder, ours to surrender, trust for the children tomorrow will bear. We who endanger, who create hunger, agents of death for all creatures that live. We would foster clouds of disaster, God of our planet, forestall and forgive. Let there be greeting, earth from the burning, water that blesses, the air that is sweet. Health in God's garden, hope in God's children, regeneration that peace will complete. God of all living, God of all loving, God of the seedlings, the snow and the sun. Teach us, deflect us, Christ reconnect us, using us gently and making us one.
We have seen, we have smelled and tasted the grace that God offers all people. May we go into the world knowing our faith of ordinary acts works to transform God's extraordinary world. May we go into the world waiting longingly to see God moving and growing. And may we go into the world ready to be sustained and eager to offer the treasure within us. May the grace of God's abundance surround you, the gift of Jesus' service inspire you, and the movement of the Spirit stir within you.
Oh, great earth, so green and so blue,